What's up? It's AJ. I'm actually about to head out on a backpacking trip. That's right. Finally back into backpacking season for me. Had a ton of stuff going on over the winter. It's March 1st, 2019. It's almost 5 o'clock at night. I'm getting a super late start on this trail. I've got almost 7 miles to do. So let's go ahead and get right into it. I'm super pumped to be out here. All right. Here we go. This boot isn't going to fight me the whole way. That'd be really annoying. All right. For those of you who have seen a video here before, welcome back. For those of you who have not, gotta pay attention. Ozark Trail South, Ozark Trail North, Berryman Trail West Leg, Brazil Creek Trailhead. All right, I gotta pay attention. All right, pretty quickly reached a fork in the road and a couple of different directions that I can go. It depends on which direction you're taking this loop. I am going to take it clockwise, so I'm gonna go left over here to the Ozark Trail South Hazel Creek Trailhead. Over there, 12 miles away. Not gonna make it all the way there this evening, but hopefully get about 7 or 8 miles in. And if you were gonna take this counterclockwise, this is where you would want to take a right, going back to the Berryman campground. And then as you can see, this is gonna take me up this way. So here we go. All right, looks like about 1.5 miles in, 1.75 miles in. Well, you remember that old Bugs Bunny clip where he shows up in the wrong place and goes, well, looks like I made a wrong turn at Albuquerque, or something to that extent? I pulled one of those. Remember back where I said you should go left if you're walking up the west side? You shouldn't. You should go right. I walked almost 3 miles in the wrong direction. So now I'm night hiking. And I've been night hiking for probably about an hour. And I'll be night hiking for probably about 2 hours. So it is what it is. Part of the game. I still should be getting to camp at about 8:30. Also got a pretty wicked blister developing on my right foot because I was an idiot and didn't wear sock liners to start, but this is how it goes. That's why I love camping. It's not easy. We'll see. Check back in later. All right, good morning, everybody. Sorry that I did not do a better job filming yesterday. Getting into camp last night at about 8:30, I was a little cold and sweaty, which was a mistake on my part. I just was frustrated at not being a better navigator and having to walk an extra 3 miles yesterday that I didn't really want to do, but that's the beauty of backpacking. It will humble you. And it will remind you to be cognizant of what you're doing at all times, or you'll pay the price. So I did about 10 miles, a little over 10 yesterday. I was supposed to do about 7 and a quarter. I got into the perfect campsite last night as I was walking. One of the things that was pretty astounding was that it was the darkest night I've ever been out on or even seen. No stars, total cloud cover, pitch black, no city noise, nothing. Just pitch black. I mean, if I turned my headlamp off when I was walking, I could not see my hand in front of my face, even if I tried to let my my eyes adjust. So that was a little eerie as I was walking, but 7.5 miles in, right where I predicted. This campsite opens up. There's a spring. I'll show you around here in a minute when I wake up. I'm just boiling my first pot of water here for some coffee and kind of get things moving. It's about, I think, 7 in the morning. It got down to about 32 last night, 31 I think, and that's just the straight temperature. And I mean, as you can see, my breath's a little frosty. I got a little bit of water on the outside of the tent, the outside of the tarp, but overall I slept really warm, really comfortably. Probably got 7 or 8 hours of sleep. Probably fell asleep at around midnight, and maybe a little before. And really excited about this hike today. I got a lot of mileage to cover, but hopefully my feet are feeling good. I got a pretty gnarly blister from last night from not having walked that many miles, but looking forward to a nice cup of coffee, just laying here in the hammock. I got a stream running behind me, and just gonna relax here in camp this morning. Not gonna get in any big hurry getting out of here. This is gonna be nice. This is why I came out here, was this day. It's always the day in the middle of travel that I kind of settle into just being out here, and I don't really think about my phone and email and things like that. So I'm pretty pumped about this. Quick setup, I'll show you more around, but funny enough, I still just use an Eno double nest with continuous loops. I use the Eno Helios Whoopee Sling suspension system. This is a Warbonnet Superfly 12-foot in the 20D poly with doors, and I'll kind of show you how I have it all rigged up, mainly using a bunch of Dutch wear gear. And then the quilts that I have, both the top quilt and the under quilt, that's how you do it in hammocks, is quilts rather than one sleeping bag. These are Hammock Gear. This is a Burrow 20 with a snap foot box standard fill, and this is an Incubator 20 with standard fill and all the normal stuff. I really wish I would have gotten about an ounce of overfill on both of these. My girlfriend has that on hers, and I think it would have given me a little bit more protection down closer to 20 degrees. We're going to find that out tonight. It's going to be pretty chilly, and we'll see if I sleep warm. And that's pretty much my setup. I had a pair of gloves behind me as a pillow last night, and I'm still just kind of waking up. So I'm going to get back to the coffee. Talk to you later. Okay, this might give you an idea of why my campsite was so delightful last night. Now, I didn't use this at the time, but let me tell you, this morning, ooh, this is nice to have. Spring water. Now, I would say, for safety's sake, you'd still likely want to filter this, but because I'm boiling it, because it's coming directly out of that spring, I'm not too worried now. Here's where you'd have your fire pit. There's also a more man-made one over there with a grill, and lots of room, as you can see, for tents and horses, I would imagine, is what gets brought down in here. But this is my setup, as it would normally be, and there you go. Come inside. So most mornings Back in the day, I used to get up and like cook a whole breakfast, do like a freeze-dried biscuits and gravy or something like that. And the amount of work that I had to put in, sorry for the crinkling, the amount of work that I had to put in for the caloric intake, cleaning up the next morning, things like that, just wasn't worth it. So typically what I do now is like one of these Pro Bar meals. These things are 390 calories a piece. They're really dense. They're really delicious. This one's a chocolate peanut butter one. And then I'll supplement in like some snack sticks, like some beef sticks or something like that, some salami. And then of course some hot coffee. I typically use Starbucks Via instant coffee. And that makes for a pretty good breakfast. Get some protein, get a lot of energy, some calories in. Don't have to do a lot of cleaning up. I'm just boiling water for coffee. And on this trip, it was a really big heavy thing, but I wanted to make sure I was okay at night when the water temperatures get down. So I brought my Yeti. This is a 36-ounce bottle, so it's basically a little over a liter. And each night I'm going to boil a liter of water and put it in here like a hot water bottle. It's kind of kicking off a little bit of heat right now. Put that down in my hammock. That'll keep everything nice and secure and safe, keep everything good. And then in the morning, I'll just pour it out a little bit into my my cook pot, and I'll be off and running for a cup of coffee and plenty of trail water for the hike out in the morning. So far it's working out to be a good system. Didn't really do it last night because I was just kind of so exhausted, but looking forward to getting into camp earlier today and kind of getting set up a little earlier. I've got the right amount of fuel left. I'll have some dinner tonight. Should be a good day. Breakfast. As you can see, I hang all of my clothes under my ridgeline to dry at night. Normalcy. Okay, these two trees here were where I hung my hammock. So as you can see, really no trace that I was here. Leave no trace practice is very important when camping. Okay, was able to break camp probably about an hour today. Was moving a little slow and I lost one of my gloves for a moment, so I had to kind of spend some time dealing with that, which was a pain in the ass. But as is the deal when you come out here, you deal with some pains. It's pretty cold this morning. It's about 35 degrees as I'm walking right now, and it's about 9:30. Took me probably about 2.5 hours once I woke up to kind of get things moving, but feeling pretty good with the exception of the blister on the back of my right foot so far. And should be manageable today. I got some protection on it and I'm just kind of being careful how I walk. Not having my hiking poles is not helping. Toes are a little cold, but that's all right. That's part of it. As I warm up, things will get a little easier. Started off with the rain pants on today. Ditched the long underwear that I had on yesterday. I just felt like I was getting too hot and was having a hard time regulating as I went along. So I'm hoping I can kind of take these on and put these on, take them off throughout the day, and that'll get me there. Have not seen a single other person out here yet. I guess I'm the only crazy, but so far it's nice and quiet. I mean, this right here, this is why you come out here. just being able to see and walk that mileage and just cover ground, that's so much fun. My foot is not going to be happy by the end of the day. So one of the things that you can see here at Berryman campground, or the Berryman loop, is that sometime in the not too distant past that looks like they did a controlled burn. You can see all these trees kind of have this charred black at their base, and a lot of the underbrush here is cleared out, and that's to allow for the health of the trees itself. You wouldn't think that burning a forest would make it healthier, but one of the things that that does is it clears out a lot of the smaller plants underneath a lot of this kind of ground brush like this, and it allows for the larger, more mature trees to absorb more of the nutrients and to get more out of the soil and to absorb more of the energy coming from the sun, because it doesn't have to share the resources. It's a pretty common practice in forestry management, at least here in the Midwest. I've seen it at a few other parks. Kind of down here in one of the bottoms, just walking through the forest, really pretty. Still haven't seen anybody. About 3 miles into my day so far. So making good progress, but not exactly burning through miles on purpose. I just want to kind of relax today and enjoy it. Right now I'm ETA of camp probably about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. If I kept this pace and didn't stop, which I know I will, I'm going to take some breaks today, stop and eat some lunch somewhere along the way. So just kind of chilling, taking my time, make sure to look up more than I normally do. Little shout out to Julie Schnook. So trying to notice the tops of the trees and any animal life that's running around, and just the horizons and the other areas that you can look. It's really easy to just look down at your feet or look down, 4 or 5 feet in front of you to make sure you know where you're stepping. But oftentimes if you do that, you miss some of the coolest stuff that's out to your left and right as you're walking along. So just a little tidbit. Finally, another human. 2 humans. Hey. Hey guys, how are you? All right, well, I just ran into 2 really nice guys from Kansas City. They told me that they hadn't been out for a couple of years now, but really nice guys, both wearing Salomon boots, so we chatted about that for a second. But they're just coming from the other way on this trail, so they kind of gave me some insight as to where the last reliable water is, which really good information, because it's actually only about 4 or 5 miles from here, which is probably 6 or 7 miles before I'm gonna camp tonight. So with that being said, I'm gonna fill up with a couple of liters at that water source just in case, and it's gonna be a pain to carry it, but I'd rather do that than walk without it and get there and not have any water or not be able to cook dinner, because I'm gonna be pretty hungry tonight, I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking forward to that mac and cheese or a ramen bomb. I haven't decided which one yet, but really nice guys, good information. Just kind of shooting it a little bit. Chatted about where they camped, where I camped, where they were parked, which is actually right next to me, which is great because they asked about their car and I said, yeah, I'm still there. So nice to be able to help people out. Backpackers are always, at least in my experience, really nice people. I've had one bad experience on the trail, but other than that, everybody always seems to be really nice. We chatted about the elevation and the trail and conditions and all that kind of stuff. So looking forward to the rest of this hike. They claim this trail is a little longer than the mileage on the posted signage and the maps and things. They seem to think that it's 28 miles as opposed to 24. So hopefully that's not the case, and I'm not going to run into you know, an 8 or 9 mile hike out tomorrow. That'd be pretty disappointing, but we'll see how it goes. And still walking down the trail. Done a much better job today managing my layers, the breaks that I've been taking, slowing down, speeding up things. You'll notice throughout the day, I'm constantly taking my hat, my buff, which is the neck sleeve that I wear, and then my gloves. Those 3 items are constantly coming on, moving off, being taken off, shed, put back on, just to manage where I'm at, because the worst thing you can do when it's cold out here is get really sweaty. I am wearing a wool undershirt, which really helps a lot, because wool will retain a lot of its insulative and warming properties even when it's wet. But when you stop, that cold will rip right through you if you don't get some layers on. So doing a much better job managing that today. Seems to be a recurring theme in all my videos that I talk about it, but I think it's really important for people to know, especially if you're more of a beginner. Speaking of, this trail is actually really good for any of you out there that are what you would consider a beginner backpacker that maybe wants to stretch out into a 2-night trip and add some mileage. I think technically if you really wanted to, you could make this a 3-night trip, but if you wanted to test yourself just a little bit and staying out a couple of nights, this would be a really good trail, because so far the footbed is really chill. It's a lot of gravel. It's very well maintained. You can tell it's well trafficked, probably in the summer. I don't know what it's like when the equestrian traffic gets out here. So far, the level of mud in the watery spots have been super manageable. But as the summer gets on and more traffic comes out here, you never know. But as of right now, no crazy elevation, no rock hopping, nothing that's gonna be tough on your knees or your ankles. This is a very good trail for anybody that wants to try a 2-night backpacking trip and doesn't want to go crazy, you know, with one of the tougher trails or some of the harder elevation. Things like Tom Sauk and Bell Mountain can be tough depending on how much of the loop you do. So just some thoughts to consider. All right, just came down to this sign, Berryman Trail East leg, which is where we're going, that way. Brazil Creek Trailhead, which I think is in 4 miles, so that'll be kind of like a parking lot area. And then Ozark Trail North to Huzzah, that way. And Ozark Trail South Highway 8 Trailhead that way. Berryman Trust West other way. You got it. We're heading the right way. So I've just been kind of slowly plodding along. I'm a little past 8 miles or so. I think I've got right under 6 left. Haven't stopped for lunch yet. I think I'm just past 12:30, 1 o'clock or so. I'm gonna do that. I'm heading downhill right now towards what I believe is the water source that those guys talked about. The reason I stopped and look is that the second person, or second group, second one person that I've seen since I started on this trail, probably 15 or 20 miles ago, just came whizzing past me on a mountain bike, which was pretty cool. Haven't seen that activity on this trail yet, so it's cool to see somebody else out making use of it on a day like today. Looks like I've done 16 miles on the Berryman Trail loop. Just past one of the trail blazes that you'll see in photos on the blog post. But I'll also try and get you one on video here shortly. Probably showing you some Ozark Trail ones, but the Berryman Trail loop. One of the things I've always been kind of fascinated by is the lack of information on the signage, the blazes that are on these trails. And, you know, I'm not saying it's got to be some giant map, but maybe just some sort of indicator of like how far you're in, or some sort of little outline with just kind of a dot of like where you are. I think would be really helpful for a lot of beginners, just to not feel lost at times. I've been doing this for a long time. I got lost yesterday, and I'm working with a GPS. Maybe I'm just an idiot, but certainly something to think about. For any of you out there that have that kind of power, let's talk about it. So yeah, just walking along. That mountain biker was really cool. I'm on a downhill right now, down to that water source, and then I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna eat some lunch. Probably gonna take off my shoes and just relax for a little bit. At that point, I should probably have 5-ish miles left on the day, and I feel like it'd be a good spot to take a half an hour or so and get some food in me and filter some water and get ready for the last push of the day to get into camp, which I'm excited about. It's gonna drop down really chilly tonight, down close to 20 degrees, so probably 10-15 chillier than it was last night. We'll just see how these quilts do. Whoop. All right. Well, I decided that this was probably as good a place as any to stop and eat lunch. I found this water source, so I'm gonna stop, have some food, hang out for a little bit, relax, and let my feet recover a little bit, and then I'll get after the last 4.5-5 miles of today. For lunch, trash bag, second trash bag, I'm going to have some, let's see here, tortillas. Use my knife, I think, or my fork. Somewhere down in here, I've got a couple tuna packets. Start with that. See how far that takes me. Got to be really careful when you're eating like this to notice where all the little scraps and pieces of paper are going and things like that. You don't want to leave any of this stuff out here in the woods. Cause problems for animals, does destruction to the ecosystem. It's our responsibility to keep it nice. We get to use it, but it's our job to keep it usable for everybody else. This probably doesn't look great on video, but man, oh man. These ranch pre-made kind of tuna fish salad style packets from Starkist are so good. Good protein, and once you get them out of a pack, you cut down some nice weight too. So I'm gonna have a couple of those little Starkist packs on some tortillas. My watch is telling me that I'm off course. Oh. I was just walking along, found a piece of trash. I do love a good honey stinger. Packing it out. Like I said, these places are largely free for us to come. I know we pay for them with our taxes, but let's keep it nice. Take responsibility. It's our job, because the staff that manage these parks and the resources they have, there's no way they can do it if we're not responsible. So I would imagine that was just an accident, probably flew out of somebody's pocket. Might have been the guy that was mountain biking, I don't know. But just, if you see a piece of trash, if it's manageable, pick it up, take it out with you. Let's make these places nice. "18 miles in, keep on chugging." All right, I'm in the last mile and a half in the home stretch. I just thought this was really cool. This is at least knee, maybe mid-thigh deep. Kind of a cool feature. Home stretch, baby. I'm on what should be the last climb of the day. Got about 100 feet left of elevation, somewhere about a mile or so. So it's real spread out, nothing major. But after 13 or so miles, these long, slow, trudging climbs become kind of ominous. Does my hair look crazy? Okay, that should be the top of the ridge. And now it should be downhill to camp and less than a mile left. Hello. Here we go. Cruising on in to a nap in the hammock. Ooh, my legs are tender. Well, I hope what I'm about to do doesn't disappoint anyone, but I got to where I thought I would camp, and it just really wasn't camp. It's just wasn't even a clearing. There was no good place for a hammock, and I guess I could have muddled back in through the hills and found a spot, but I looked on my GPS. My car's about 5.5 miles out, and I've already done 14 miles today. My feet are killing me. My legs are tired, but the idea of sleeping in my bed tonight with my girlfriend, as opposed to out here in 21-degree weather, is just a little too much to not try to get to. So if I walk for about the next 2 hours, I should be able to get back to my car. And if I do, I can be home by 8 or 9, I would say. And if that's the case, I should get the chance to go get my dog, hang out with my girlfriend, and just spend a nice Saturday night at my house. This has been a ton of fun, but I gotta be honest, one of the things that's been a little befuddling about this trail, and what I can't quite come to grips with, is, to me, it's just kind of boring. There's no views, there's no vistas. You're just kind of walking through the woods. And if you want to get a good feel for what the Missouri woods look like, this is an awesome trail for you. You can really get in a nice walk. I mean, hell, I'm going to get in 20 some odd hours, or 27, 28 miles in 2 days. But I just couldn't, there was nothing about where I was going to camp or anything I've seen since that just made me say, yeah, I want to stay out here. Like so many campsites do, like so many trails do, they just pull you in. This one just has not done it for me. It's been nothing exciting about it.
Like I said, a great beginner backpacking trail if you want to get in some miles, but I don't know, it's just something about it that's making me want to head home. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna struggle through it for 5.5 more miles and try and get home. We'll see if the feet will allow it. I thought it was worth noting that a big part of my consideration also to try and make it out of here tonight is this evening's temperatures are going to be around 20 degrees. And along with that, we're supposed to get a bunch of freezing snow and ice, which normally doesn't bother me when camping. I've done hammock camping down to -5 degrees, which, if you haven't seen that Bell Mountain video over here. But with all that being said, driving out of here in the morning, trying to get home even if I did stay, would be really sketchy. Simply for the fact that it's a bunch of backcountry southern Missouri roads. I have no idea if they're gonna get treated tonight. My guess is not. And my guess is they probably won't get plowed tomorrow. I've got a rear-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive car. So trying to make it out of here and home safely in one piece tomorrow seems also pretty sketchy. So that's weighing pretty heavy into my decision. But overarching, I just want to go home and be with my family. So that's what I'm gonna do. Whew. One thing, when you're going for broke and you're heading to the car, it's a bad practice to get into, but when you're headed to the car, it's your last leg. You don't have to worry as much about your management of your layers, because once you get back to the car, it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna put on some clean clothes and I'm driving, so it doesn't matter. So I'm just kind of pushing it as fast as my feet will let me go, and averaging probably about 3 miles an hour. So I'm gonna try and beat the sunset, which is I think a little after 5. I think I can get there around 4:30 or 5. So we'll see. Last night when I was hiking, literally couldn't see my hand in front of my face. So hopefully I'll beat that tonight. All right, according to the GPS, I should be within about a half a mile of the parking lot, which would be incredible if that's true. I hope that I don't come out to some spur trail or something like that. I gotta walk a bunch of miles, but it seems like it's taking me back to where I came from. So this trip has beat me up pretty hard. My feet hurt as bad as they've ever hurt in my life, but this was worth doing for sure. Sometimes you got to test yourself and see how much you can push it. Sometimes you got to face a challenge in the face, sometimes you got to look a challenge in the face and say, what am I made of, and get after it. This is gonna be close to a 20-mile day with a 20+ pack on. It's the most I've ever done. The terrain wasn't crazy, but this has been a challenge. So glad I decided to head out tonight. I think the weather is going to turn pretty gnarly, and I think it's going to be good to be home in the morning, but feet are ready for a parking lot for sure. Check in when I get back to the car. Back to the parking lot. Berryman campground. You whooped my ass. Good job. Hard trail, even though it's easy. If you try and tackle it in 2 days, it's pretty rough, especially when you only do like 7 on the first day. Berryman campground. Awesome.